Good evening, everyone. The Core HRIR team is back again with their next series of the webinar in the Learning Weekend series, and it is on technology support in performance management system. This is our fourth webinar in the series of this initiative. I'm Kashish, your host for today, and the thought leader who will be sharing his expertise on the topic is Mr. Raju Foiujdar, who is currently the head of HR for the API business unit in Zydus Cadila. Please join me in welcoming him on this platform. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Kashish.
So before we start off completely onto the webinar, we'll go ahead and speak a little bit or share a little bit about what the Core HRI group is all about. Just give me a moment before we just switch on to the PPT. It'll help us sharing our views in a little better way. So the Core HRIR group is again a group for the HR professionals. We like to call it a progressive HR group. The group was formed in January last year, and it comprises of more than 350 HR leaders, CHROs, and leading HR minds from Fortune's 500 companies across globe as well as in India. The group was formed with an intent to share knowledge, the experience, expertise, and allow a platform for the HR professionals to connect with each other and find solution to the common issues the fraternity faces. Since our inception in January 2017, we have come up with various initiatives which are based on learning, on the professional development of HR leaders as well as the organizations, on maybe devising coaching on training and development platforms, etc., etc. So the WhatsApp group for the Core HRIR team is a very interactive platform where we discuss the issues, the new initiatives, the new ideas which are flooding the HR function, or any new experiments or the new technologies which have been introduced for the organizations and for the HR professionals. It is really, really hyperactive platform where we every day see millions of conversations happening. The next initiative is our webinar series, which is our Learning Weekend series, and we're glad to say that this is our fourth event in this series, and there's so much more to come. Again, we have come up with an interactive platform where individuals can meet each other, discuss various issues, listen to the experts, meet the experts, and discuss various interactive series. And we have one Chai Buddy series coming up on 15th of July. So we hope to see most of you there, and we'll be sharing the details towards the end of this webinar. Another initiative from the group is the career opportunities, which is called the job board, wherein we would be sharing the job opportunities which would be open up for the HR within the HR function across India as well as overseas. We are right now in trying to collaborate with multiple vendors who can provide us the job opportunities, multiple research and executive search firms, which will be able to give us a richer platform for the HR professionals to explore. Again, one of the initiatives is the Shining HR Award series, where we are trying to recognize the HR professionals who have less than 10 years experience but have made huge strides in their professional career, who have taken initiatives which have been recognized from their organizations or within the HR fraternity. So all in all, we are trying to come up with one-stop solution to all the issues or the concerns that the HR fraternity faces. We're trying to come up with a platform where the HR professionals can come together, unite, and figure out the future for the HR in the coming years. So today's topic is the technology support and performance management system, as we discussed earlier. So before we go ahead with starting off the series with Raju Foiujdar sir, I would like to give a brief introduction about Mr. Foiujdar. He's basically has 28 plus years of rich and varied experience in human resources function. He's currently associated with Zydus Cadila as head HR for its API business and has worked with IFCO Laboratories, Alchem International, Westwind Concepts, and Amity University. He actually started his career with Indian Air Force as an electronics and telecommunication engineer. He believes that HR is actually a catalyst for achieving organic growth through effective contributions. So if the HR contributions are right, the organization can actually make huge business profits. He also expertises in employee welfare and increasing cost effectiveness for the organizations. His colleagues consider him as an HR strategist and a great mentor who knows how to influence team to achieve excellence. Overall, the significant contributions for him have been in the areas of training and development, OD, resource planning, legal, performance management system, etc. With a strong inclination towards technology, he has automated multiple HR processes, including PMS, and that is how we have him here. He's made huge contributions in his current organization and other organizations as well. And we would certainly like to hear from him going forward, as to what his expert tips are. The domains that he has worked on are manufacturing and pharma. In terms of his education, he has garnered too many accolades for us to be able to elaborate a lot here. But overall speaking, he's done his Six Sigma Green Belt from Motorola University, USA. He studied law. He's done his double MBA in HR international. Currently, he's also done his bachelor's in the arts, and he's also done his master's from in the same domain. Just a little bit about myself. I have over 13 years experience in the HR function across talent management, acquisition, retention, development, performance management. Worked across budgeting, HR analytics, and HRIS. I've worked across different domains, IT, ITES, and approximately 4 to 5 companies, majorly in IT and ITES sector. So coming back to the topic of today, I think performance management does not need an introduction per se, but still, just to talk a little bit about it, performance management is an area that has always plagued the minds of everyone. I mean, be it business leaders, human resources, and employees. Everyone is affected by it alike. And no matter what about advancements come through, performance management still remains an enigma. I hope we all agree that it is one of the most complicated functions of HR, as it encompasses activities such as goal settings, continuous performance review, frequent communication, which is involved at all times, the continuous feedback and coaching for improved performance, implementation of employee development programs, rewarding achievements, promotions, etc., etc. At the same time, the way digitization is changing the corporate world, it has impacted HR completely. And of course, performance management being a part of it is not untouched by it. The process of performance management is now not just being administered through the use of technology. At the moment, it is also, in most of the companies, it is also being used to monitor performance and to keep a track of measures, goals, and objectives. If we were to go by what majority of the HR people feel, The performance management actually starts with the joining of a new employee in a system and ends only when they quit the organization. And to further understand the impact of technology on PMS and how we can best utilize it for maximum positive business impact, let's hear it from the expert. So, sir, I think one of the most important questions that people have is what is it that we are looking at for PMS? What is the perfect or the excellent performance management system, and why do we need to have it in place?
Thank you so much, Kashish. First of all, I would like to say good evening to all my friends. It's really appreciable that Core HR and IR Group is doing fantastic work in the field of the learning. And it's really wonderful platform for all our HR professional. Rather, I will say that this entire HR fraternity, where the learning is a way of life. I really appreciate the interest of all those who have joined this webinar. Yes, I understand. They have joined this webinar after a long day of work. Some of them will be having off tomorrow. Some of them are having the working day. But still it is appreciable if people have shown the interest. As Kashish has mentioned that learning should not stop. Yes, as a HR professional, learning should never stop. In case we talk about HR and if we stop learning, so we have heard like 2020, the scope of HR will be over. It was in some newspaper, it was into Economic Times also. The reason being, some of the HR professionals are working as an orthodox HR. But if we see in HR, we deal with the human beings. Today, the interface of the technology, growth perception and generations gap generally creates a lot of challenge for the HR department. I was just going through Harvard's business review, and what I have learned out of its 2-3 editions, many of our fast-growing organizations in India, they have got 70% of workforce which is below 35 years of the age. If we analyze the demography of the organizations, HR has to manage between almost 2 generations, or rather we can say it is a 3 generation, because every 10 to 12 years we have got a generation gap, there is a thought process gap, there is a technological development, there are the aspirations, the ambitions which change. But HR has to manage between all these generations. One generation belongs to, in case we talk about our senior leadership, they are the people having the old school thoughts. While the second generation, or we can say our younger generation, millennials, they need grooming and care. So there are 2 factors for HR to consider. One is the adaptability to change. Secondly, our capability to handle the changes smoothly. Last but not the least, I will say, our willingness to get the desired results. Today, HR is not just limited to the orthodox HR practices, as we have seen during the times of time office, which was generally hiring till exit and the routine transactional jobs. But organization now look to all of our HR personnel as HR business partners. Our efforts have got direct impact on the business in case we talk about today's scenario. So, in case once we know we are the HR business partners, we have got the direct impact on the business. So, how do we make our organizations performing and keep alignment with the business? So, out of that, we have got so many employee engagement, reward and recognition practices, but how do we align them? How we do justify them? So for justification of all those things, I think PMS is the best tool which we can use. Now the thing is, why we need to have excellent PMS system in place for our organization? Yes, it's a really critical question for all of us. So I would like all of you to apprise of the 3 great thought leaders in HR. One of them is the Alan Orler, who says talent is one of the last frontiers for differentiation. Any company can have a patent or product or produce a product. The difference is the quality of that product comes with the value of the talent you have. But how we retain our talent is the biggest question. For retention of our talent, yes, we need to have our PMS system, our reward and recognition, our employee engagement practices, which are again aligned to our PMS system. It should be in place. About Alan Orler, I would like to apprise you, he was the president and founder of Talent Function Group, which has been successful in 1960s and 70s. His learning has seen the generations gap. Second is of the Jim Collins. I think his special book, which most of the HR leaders read, is Good to Great. Good to Great. In case we go to its chapter 5, where it confirms what is the value of our HR human capital. HR human capital makes a lot of difference to the entire thing. The way organizations work, the way people work, the way we deal our people, the care, the recognition which we give to our people. So I will go through the 2 lines by Mr. Jim Collins. It is those who build great companies understand that ultimate throttle on the growth for any of the great companies is not the markets, not the competition, nor our products. It is one thing above all others, the ability to get and keep enough of the right and talented people. So here, he is focused on the people, but retention of people, PMS has got its vital role to play. We know the Ford cars. It was founded by Henry Ford. And if we go by the wording of the Henry Ford, it is even more touchy, it is more sensitive, which is specially, I think, designed for our HR people to think upon, to learn a lot from all these things. So his lines are really so touchy. He says, you can take my factories, burn up my buildings, but give me my people, and I will bring up my business right back again. So this shows he has got a lot of confidence into his talented manpower, his trained manpower, those people who have been with him for a long time. So this is the people performance, this is a people objective. So people, again, we can retain with the best of our practices in PMS system. Now, going by the Indian scenario, with the Henry Ford's wording, which says you can take my factories, burn up my buildings, but give me my people. I will bring up my business right back again. So this is the confidence in his talent, the people which he has retained for his business. He knows that he can build his business by building his own people. But keeping the people motivated and with your organization, it is our best PMS system which can make the difference. If you talk about the Indian PMS system, yes, we are not that much matured in our PMS system. Generally, in the organizations, we feel challenged while dealing with our PMS system. One thing I would like to mention here, that treating the performance management system as a yearly event, I don't find this is going to serve the business as a business partner, and as a HR business partner, we are not doing justice to our duties. In case we want to understand it in a better way, Tiger Woods, we all know, he is one of the successful golfers of all times. But can we just consider if we give him the direction, feedback and development once in a year, so whether he will be able to perform? No, I don't find he will be able to perform. It is a time to stop equating performance management system with the dreaded annual appraisal system. It's a reality. We need to understand it should be real time, and we should not at all wait for the year to complete. We can have it at the regular intervals. Intervals can be decided as per the organization, the requirements, And as per like customers being our internal customers, we can say they are our employees. So research shows that organizations with an ongoing performance management system have got the better results. Why so? Because companies can align their business at any given point of time. They can revise, they can review their goals on quarterly basis, biannual basis, or we can say half yearly basis, or more frequently whenever they require. So this is again learning from this Harvard Business Review, which says 45% more likely to have above average financial performance those are having quarterly or half yearly PMS cycles. 64% more likely to be effective at cost holding at a below level of competitors. What is your basic objective? If we are the manufacturer or we are the service provider, in case we have got cutting edge over our competitors, then only we can survive, we can sustain in the business. And sustainability of business is one of the most requirement as on date, wherein we have got the internal and external competition. But really these figures are shocking. So I would like to add here one more thing. Whether we want to buy the talent from outside or we want to build our own talent. What are the benefits of building our own talent? In case we have got the people within the system, so what is their advantage over buying the people? Because first of all, the people, those who are into the system, they understand our culture, they understand our way of working. If they are retained with us, so how we are going to benefit as a HR business partner? Their CTCs are generally aligned to our business objectives. They are within to our pay ranges. But in case we hire a replacement, as per market trends, we need to pay 20 to 30% extra. So once we buy the person from outside or we take the talent from outside, first of all, we are going to spend more. Secondly, it will take approximately 3 to 6 months for that particular person to settle down and start delivering the results. So most of the developing organizations which are exponentially growing, they have got the major focus on build the people, not to buy from outside. But to build the people, we need to give them the opportunities. We need to give them the chance. Generally, as HR people, what we do, we generally provide them the depth of the knowledge. We never look for their vertical growth. In case we focus on the vertical growth, we allow them to take risk, calculated risk. We allow them to switch over to the function from one function to other, which is basically we can, based upon their performance management system, we can assess the risk and we can have the learning in place for our talented people. So we can build a succession pipeline, which is going to lastly benefit the organization as a whole. Secondly, these people can further work as a mentors for other critical roles or other critical talent available in the organization. But keeping them motivated, PMS is the only system through which we can keep them motivated. Now the thing comes, why we need to have the ongoing or real-time PMS? How it is going to help us? We talk about like performance appraisals and assessment are just one piece of the talent management puzzle. But if we think the perspective of being the HR business partner and we keep this trend going, as I mentioned just before, the example of Tiger Woods. So if we want our skilled workforce to stay with us, to keep motivated, to keep aligned with the business, we need to do audit of the employees' achievements on a frequent basis, give them the feedback, give them the chance to build upon their, we can say during SWOT analysis, where there are the opportunities. So we can allow them to build upon. Yes, for that we can have the customized trainings, we can have the mentoring, we can have the coaching, but we need to build upon our own talent first. We should not build and enhance our this talent for supplying to our competitors in the market. Because we are building people, we should build our own business. Or it should not payment cycle where the judgment is not the sole focus. Ongoing support and improvement should be just as important, if not more. So how improvement do the gap assessment? For succession plan, we can have our talent pool in the pipeline. We can map whether our leader is ready today to take over the new task or it needs some time. So the development journey can be carried out within the organization. But yes, it should be supported by our PMS system, which says yes, that person is achiever, it's a go-getter, has got the capabilities to perform. Reason being, in case we take the arbitrary type of decisions without having the supporting PMS, so other employees who are likely potential, they will leave the organization because they will term it as a bias. But to be transparent, to be in line, we need to have our PMS system in place, and it should be ongoing system. So what exactly ongoing performance management look like? It is like the series of the events that include few processes. It's like real-time PMS. In case the individual who has got some achievement, he might forget, he or she might forget after some time when the PMS cycle will happen, or they have to keep it noted somewhere. In case we provide them the access through the system with the help of technology, they've got the real time, they've got the authority, they can fill up their achievements anytime. They want to realign some of their KRA or KPI, they should be allowed to have it. And same way, like our top leadership is generally aligned with the organizational goals, they can foresee our long-term and short-term plans. So they can recalibrate, they can understand it, and they can provide the future KRA and KPI. There can be two ways of these achievements. One can be long-term, other can be short-term. Short-term are those like which have to be completed within 1 year. While long-terms we talk about something more than 1 year. It can be up to 5 years. So recalibrating and retuning of such things needs to be done for long-term these achievements or long-term planning. We can recalibrate even our short-term goals to long-term goals. But that can be done once we have got the real or inline on-time appraisal system. So how do we benefit from ongoing PMS system? One is target can be revised at any time. In case as an individual, as an appraisee, I am thinking I can forecast organization goals, I can forecast achievements, I can forecast the business, or I can forecast anything which will align the organization's goals. So I got always easy access. I can put those KRA KPIs and can have the explanation of it in the system. Same way, the senior has got also the authority. They can also suggest upon the goals which are to be realigned, recalibrated. In case we feel that some of our employees or the appraisee under us has got some gap in the skill set, so we can allow that mentoring and coaching. This period can be from 3 months to 6 months. But yes, it will help us in gap assessment first between the skill set required and the skill set the person is having versus our alignment with the organization goals. Thirdly, we can access that particular person once the coaching and mentoring is over. Generally, most of the organizations carry out like dipstick of happiness, or they've got the Gallup surveys being done for their organization. So there is a factor which I was just going through the main observations which comes in the Gallup survey. It is like the supervisory care or the development path which is not being discussed with the individual. So in case we have got the ongoing PMS system, supervisor has got all the rights. They can have their development and career progression which will be aligned with their KRA and KPI. So by the help of ongoing PMS system, this recalibration, any discussion which happens this moment, we should not wait for that particular interval to happen when the KRA and KPIs will be entered, when they will be measured. We can do it right now, we can realign, we can recalibrate, and we start going. We can map our further steps according to our requirements. Another thing, like we all know, it is a carrot and stick policy everywhere in the organization. Our reward and recognition system can be aligned, and it can be only and only transparent once it is supported by some concrete data or some concrete results which have been achieved, where we can see the ROI. So reward and recognition practices generally help us in measuring the people capability versus what has to be given and what is the achievement. Same way, what is the organization goal achieved and how it has helped in the business to perform. So online PMS system gives us in recalibrating reward and recognition practices also. Generally all organizations focus on the talent management. The exceptional talent, which we say they are our A-graded candidates or exceptional performers, they need to be kept in the organization. They need to be kept motivated because their performance is generally different from our general candidates. They can be motivated through the reward and recognition. And rewards and recognition, it is not always the monetary. It can be by the way of appreciation. It can be by the way of thank you buddy. It can be by the way of giving a moment or giving a certificate which says yes, you have achieved it, which was not the part of even your job, but still you have helped organization achieve this particular goal. So that particular achievement can again be entered because as a human being we might forget after some time. Then we can have the increased focus on driving the business results. As I have mentioned, like short-term plans can be converted to long-term plans, sometimes to have the organization going or to add to the profits and benefits of the organization. We need to have the low-lying fruits which we can reap at any time. Whenever the organization needs that particular help, when we need the immediate things to happen. So to get those low-lying fruits, we need to have the recalibration of our PMS system. In case we need something from the ex-employee, we can recalibrate and give its timing as a 3 months, 4 months, whatsoever, whether that smart goal can be achieved. Because goals need to be smart and realistic. We can't have the vague goals. So in case it is placed well in the system, then the measurement is also easy. Thirdly, we can have empowered and engaged workforce. So empowered, how it is empowered? Once the goals have been set in the system, once everything has been translated into the system, once we have got the technology supporting us, we have got everything real time. So this will empower the people with the rights which are required to do that particular job. And same way, the people who are working good, those who are getting good PMS, those who are aligned with the organization goals, the people who are with the organization and staying with the organization, they have to be kept motivated. How it has to be measured? This is their PMS system, which are going to help us. Foundational knowledge of the talent. In case we plan some training for our talent group, but yes, we can never remember it. We can never have it on our fingertips. In case it is into the system, it is into the PMS, so we can map it again and again. Sometimes the need might change with our goals changing, with our targets changing, but that has to be kept in the system. Going further, how do I use technology for PMS and how it is going to help me? There is always a frequently asked question. There is a lot of database which comes out of the PMS. Even the organization is not willing to do it on the annual basis. How do I interpret my data once it has to be done manually on the paper? Yes, it's really difficult. Managing that particular data, interpretation, it's taking out the logical decisions. It is really difficult with the hard copies. So, as I mentioned, manual work in the performance management system may not bring the desired results. Why so? Because data interpretation is difficult. Again, we have to convert that particular thing into the data, and analytics has to be done. And secondly, as a human memory, we have got the short-term memory. Few things we might forget, which can add on value to our own PMS. The human memory has got its own implication and limitation, but the technology can help us in setting the systems and eliminate human interventions. Secondly, with the help of technology, we have got the transparency in place. Nobody can challenge. Nobody can say it's a bias PMS for anyone. We have got all the KRAs into the system. We have got the organizational goals. We have got the mapping for it. And then we know how much have been achieved. And secondly, ROI can also be measured with the help of this data analytics. So this is how the technology is going to help us. The importance of PMS to measure and improve employees' capabilities cannot be understated, because again it is the memory which is helping on the short term. But with the help of this support, which modern PMS, it helps in the transparent systems. It provides a valuable data we need to measure for our success as an individual, as an assessor, as a SSC, as an organization as a whole, and we can measure even the business outcome for this. This data gives insight where the deficiencies exist, how we have handled them, how it can affect our processes, how it can affect our business. Like in case we have done some wrong recruitment, it costs a lot in terms of the business. So with the help of the database which is there to support our own advocacy, like we say, if this person is good or this person is not a right fit, how do we prove our point? So for that, technology is going to provide us the data which will support our point of view. Even some companies, they have started the module of the shared services, wherein they have got the back-end office. Individuals are working on, they interpret the entire data, they do the data analytics, and then they pass on to the concerned stakeholders. This helps in having the data analytics at all the sites of that particular organization. For that, they have got the various softwares. They can have the customized in-house softwares which are going to help their own needs. There are the various modules of HRMS, HR management system. Darwin Box is also helping in shared services, though it is a bit costly in terms of the cost. But yes, ROI is good in case we talk about 2-3 years down the line. Because the result which is going to provide, it is the total interpretation of our own business, our own KRAs, our own PMS. So this is how it is going, this technology is going to help us in the PMS system. A manager, in case we want to know how it is going to help our assessors or our managers or business managers, which we can say.
Right, sir. So, I mean, basically, what is the interpretation by different stakeholders? So, we have employees who have to be appraised, and then we have a manager who has to do the appraisal, and then the other leaders in the hierarchy. So, what is the interpretation as per you from the different stakeholders?
Okay, Kashi, this is a really good question, because you know, there are the various stakeholders, because PMS system is not very easy to handle with. So like I'm a people manager, or we have got the assessor. So performance system, he need not to sit back in the office to do this particular exercise. In case we have got the technological support, so that particular manager can do it during meetings, during its some time vacation in between the meetings. Even once he has got the access on his like tablets, laptops, he can sit anywhere and can do it. Even the employee is preparing to ask for a rise, so they can realign, they can recalibrate, they can redefine their goals while even traveling to the office. They can utilize, they can make good utilization of their time. He or she, whosoever is, can have the access even on the smartphones. So this is going to help, sometimes while we are traveling or while we are off the office, we have got so many creative ideas, even for our own career and KPIs. Sometimes this is the best time to redefine and realign. So access of data is easy. Like in case we talk about, once our managers are sitting in a conference room, they want someone in succession planning. They want someone to be replaced. They want someone to be elevated. But how do they get the entire data? In case it is on the hard copy. But once this is driven through the technology, they got the access to the data easily on like their laptops, on their smartphones, and they can have the mapping done and they can have the discussion. They have got the data ready through this technology. Then they can make even the permutation combinations of the skill set required. Those people who are into the pipeline, their existing capabilities, their achievements. Yes, even for FMEA, failure mode elimination analysis, they can utilize this data. These cases can, leverage a purpose built for the system. It can be more valuable than the traditional paper-based approach because paper-based is filed in the papers. It cannot be retrieved as and when it is required. So performance management system, once we take it through this technology, so the access to the data and access to the people, once we, like if we talk about the organization which is growing at exponential rate, they got the new role created. Why they need to look the people from outside? They got their own inside people. So they can have the assessment of that unique job role. What is the talent available in the organization? But yes, technology helps to get the data instantly. Then performance management system, just one example of how technology can bring value to our legacy. It helps to demonstrate how important it is to have the right technology in place to resolve our all PMS related things. Yes, there are the challenges. We can think of if there can be the leakage.
Right.
And there can be, once we are sitting across our own people, giving them briefing on their performance. Even before, I have thought of, I put the remarks and my appraisee gets it. Sometimes it might upset. Yes, that is the flaw side of this technology. But at least it is real time. At least there is a transparency. I know what my appraisee has filled his KRA or KPI versus what I have assessed. Yes, we can sit together with the help of HR or the third neutral party and we can reach at the conclusion. But again, it is like what the appraisee has entered into KRA KPI, how I measure, and then where we have reached. So that will be mapped at least in the system and it can be retrieved, the data. We can have the
Right.
call. Yes. So
Yeah,
this is how.
yes.
Yes, you can please go ahead.
I was just reaffirming that I totally understand what you're saying because data is very, very important. And data is how an appraisal process or a performance management system can be totally transparent. So I totally agree with you on this.
As a leader, we have got people who have been discussing with us on the PMS system, technology, use of technology. So there are, few questions which are coming across at the regular intervals. So I would like to mention some of them. Like people say, how we are going to do in case we do it on quarterly basis, in case we do on half yearly basis, our work is going to increase. Even the leaders and the assessors, they are not ready to cooperate even for the annual system. But fact is this data with the help of technology, we have got it readily available for our use. We can interpret it, we can do its analytics. It is going to help us. It's not going to be overburden us. So half yearly is suggested in case we are on the annual, and in case we are on to annual, we can think of the quarterly doing it.
Right, sir. And I think one of the another frequently asked questions is that how online PMS with time-bound KRA settings and review can be implemented in a company where even hard copies are filled after humongous follow-ups and after multiple laps of timelines. I think a lot of organizations face this issue.
First of all, like a KRA and KPI, we are generally making it generic, which is not helping us. But with the help of key stakeholders, in case we have the technology in place, so we can have the reminder emails, which will be going to them on a regular basis till the time these people complete it online. So in case we can make them accountable, we can ask them to log in deviations wherever they have not completed it in time. So we can make them accountable for that.
Right, sir. So how can we, how would we appraise employees and get rid of PMS entirely for startups? This is typically for a startup company.
Yes, this is really very valid question. With our Prime Minister has opened up the economical gate for the industry, for the startup industry especially. So PMS for the startups, we should not avoid it, because once we are making the foundation of HR, we should make it so strong so that our further life is very comfortable, and we have got the transparency in place from the day one. Because once we start the organization, the headcount is really low. So if we get people accustomed to our requirements, and with the lower numbers once we start, so it is the habit which comes automatically into the people. Then they are naturally going to be aligned with the requirements of the organization. So for startups, I think it is always better. But yes, it will need little efforts more, because we are starting the HR from scratch.
Right. Can we calculate benefits in terms of ROI for technology support?
Yes, because generally this is a question, any organization which invests or would like to invest into the technology for PMS system, they want what they are going to get in return in case they invest something. So in case we talk about the alignment of business and realignment with mid-term goals, or even like we can realign it with any regular interval or the organization needs. Once we get the desired business outcomes, so we understand that we have got the return on analysis, this return on investment. So the difference, like if I say the organization which has capitalized, they are going to gain 500 crores turnover in a year, which was like 400 crores for this year. So they see 25% hike. But with the help of the realignment of the goals, with the help of the realignment of our entire system, in case they cross or they get something more than 500, it is really addition to their own forecasting. So this is really ROI, which we can understand that is an additional saving which they have got with the help of our systems in place.
Right. A lot of organizations do 360-degree inclusion. Is it possible in technology support?
Yes, because in technological support, I will give you the typical example of the salespeople. Like there are the 5 managers who have been given target of 50 crores each. So they are doing 250 crores in a year. But in case they are, we recalibrate their goals in between, and they are given like 55 or 60 crores in a year. So naturally there is a margin factor. So that margin can be calculated, and we can say this recalibration has basically done a particular percentage of hike in or enhancement in our business. And secondly, this has helped in gaining that particular profit margins, which are more than that. So this is how we can calculate it. Yes, some part of it has to be given as a part of a reward and recognition to those employees who have contributed beyond their own target.
Right. Is there a better system than bell curve to measure performance, and how can technology be of assistance in?
Take care of. Couldn't get your question.
Right. Is there a better system than bell curve to measure performance, and how can technology be of assistance in it?
Yes, this is really a valid question, because once upon a time the bell curve was used by most of the organizations. But if we see today's scenario, in past 2-3 years, most of the organizations have left this bell curve because sometimes it leads to the bias. The new employees who joined recently in a particular year, so to have to meet with that forced bell curve ratings, they used to keep those people in that particular segment, which was both ends of the our bell curve. But these forced bell curve ratings generally used to demoralize those people, and sometimes we used to lose some good human capital, which was not good for the organizations to understand. But by going by this technological support, it gives us real data why that particular person has been kept in forced bell curve. Because there will be the carriage and there will be the achievements against the carriage, which will give us the clear picture as a HR personnel. There has been the bias, there has been achievement of the goals. So still how that particular person can be rated lower. So this is how technology is going to help us.
Right. Some of the FAQs that we keep hearing off and on, and some of these questions did come up during the registration process.
Okay.
While we were doing this webinar, there are a few more questions that have come up, and one of these questions is there any post-performance appraisal analysis that the companies perform, and is it taken into consideration for designing next year's development plan?
Yes, this is really very good question. Because post-analysis, like I have told, we can carry out, there is a gap between the skill set required or the persons who has been performing above the desired results, above the goals, ready for the movement to the next level or next role. So we can carry out the mapping post this PMS cycle, and we can map training and development journey in next year so that the desired results the organization also gets, the person is motivated, is developed and ready for the next role. Wherein, like I told you, this is build versus buy. So why to buy from outside? Why not to build our own people? This analysis should be done post PMS system, and it should be done very carefully by the HR. I would like to, quote example of Zydus, which is my existing organization. It has got the philosophy that over next 3 years, we are going to induct people only at level 1, that is individual contributor. Rest all lateral movements will happen within our existing talent pool. So post-analysis of PMS can help us deriving the development journey for our critical talent and potential critical talent.
Right, sir. There is one more question here, which is how to improve efficacy of PMS through various tools available, and what are they? So the person wants to ask what are the different tools available and how can we improve efficiency?
Different tools, like earlier we used to have the balance scorecard, which yes, it is a little bit older one. We can align the critical business parameters in such a way, like the person who is into the decision making process, like we can say manager and above. So their performance can be linked with the organization goals, the requirements of the organization, the direct business outcome. In case like if you talk about the pharma companies, so we have got the regulatory norms, we have got the requirement versus actual deliverables, we have got the statutory compliances, we have got the quality compliances. In case all these meet, then only we are able to sell our goods in the market. So in case there is any deviation into it, so our entire PMS should be linked directly to the business outcome. So we can have the formats design for that. Hedge group is there, which can help design in this type of performance management systems and development journeys.
Right. So, sir, the next question is from Mr. Prabodh Surur, and he wants to know, do you have a ready-to-use performance audit checklist? And if you would be kind enough to share it, it will help the HR partners.
I will be able to help the format which comes out of the system, where we have got the measurement for each and every level of the people. There is the fixed targets. There is a deviation like given plus minus 5%. The goal is settled for the next year, and then it has got two parts. One is my individual score, another is the organizational scores. These both are clubbed together to derive at the particular PMS cycle, and it is again directly linked with the organization goals. So in case it is needed, separately I can share that.
Right, so we'll facilitate it. And we have a question from V. Bharat, and he's asking, what should be the ideal percentage of quantitative and qualitative data? So quantitative, which is system-based, which can be extracted from the system, and qualitative, which does not really have data as a background.
Because with the help of technology and system, the data which get, it can be interpreted, to align with our requirements or to understand it in a better way. Sometimes, till we reach the maturity of PMS system, so we need to align and realign even our own PMS system. So the data which we get from the system, we can evaluate it, we can have its proper analytics done, and then we can reach out to the new heights by the gap assessment. So this technology generally helps even in the analysis of our own data, which we might think at the start of the year, okay, this is the right direction, right way of going, but that might not be the real picture.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. I think this is all the questions that we had for this webinar. So I would like to sum up the discussion that we had for the benefit of anybody who's joined late, and just as a way of going back through what we just discussed. I think performance management is overall, we would all agree it is a process by which not only the performance of an individual, but an organization can be also improved by improving the performance of the employees within the team framework. So any technological advancement is only going to help the organization achieve better business results. The benefits that we can think of, and as Sir said, is better quality data, which is retractable from the system, a streamlined process, which allows automated workflows, approvals, making process simpler for everyone, for all the stakeholders, and also quicker for employees and managers to complete. I remember going through a phrase, a context wherein HarperCollins was able to half the time taken to complete their annual appraisals by using one of the online performance system. Before we just break, I think we have one more question coming in, and I would really like to take that up. Just one more question. Yeah, so somebody has just asked, Jaspal Bankar has asked, how should we adjust external factors in individual performance? For example, if a production manager has a goal of 1,000 metric tons in a year, but due to external factor he fails, or due to non-delivery of raw material it fails, then how do we adjust these external factors?
This is really very valid question. Reason being, he has rightly asked, in case there is some external factor which has been a hindrance in achieving the target. So ongoing PMS system helps us realign and recalibrate the target, because supply of the raw material for the production is not the responsibility of the particular production manager. Till the time he gets the raw material, how he is going to produce and can deliver his own commitments. So our online systems helps in recalibrating based on the real-time situations. In case we do once in a year, so we might forget what has happened in the month of May. And lastly, we end up saying this manager is not performing or is the below performer. While if we go to the online systems, we can immediately lock in. Due to non-availability of that particular raw material, production was hindered at particular intervals. So many batches were affected by this. So we can recalibrate with the help of this technology. I can recalibrate as an individual, and my superior can also acknowledge it in the system, so that once it is presented to HR or it is presented to the management, we know the real cause, why this particular target was not achieved.
Right, sir. Just once again, I think we have another question coming up. It is regarding bell curve, but I think we've already discussed bell curve in the FAQs. So another question, I think we can take it up. Just give me a moment and let me see what the question is about. Just 1 second. So the person has asked if there are any other techniques that can be replaced. I mean, that can replace bell curve. Any other performance? Yeah.
Yes, yes. Please complete your question.
Yeah. So, is there any other performance management technique that can replace bell curve? Is the question.
Basically, I will say that every organization has got different culture. It has got its own way of working. So HR of that particular organization knows better. We can have in-house softwares made for our own requirements, which will align our business and our people culture. That can be done. Then HRMS also has got various modules. We can have the scoring. Like if I talk about my own organization, we got two scores. One is JAI score, that is Zydus score. Another is my score, which is my own performance. However, my score is more or less is aligned to the JAI score, which is Zydus score. So we can have our customized in-house systems for this purpose. Or in case any help is required by anyone, can ping me through the personal window. I will help them out.
Sure, sir. Thank you for taking up that question. Now, I think we have one more question coming up, and if you could just allow me a minute.
Not a problem.
Next question is from Anu Agarwal, and she asks, how does the shared responsibility of each manager be measured in PMS?
Yes, that is I told by keeping this online technological supported PMS system, we can make the people accountable for their own roles. And it only, doesn't belong to the business outcome. It can even have the alignment with the building people capability. It can be aligned with the team leadership. It can be allowed working across boundaries. So all those parameters we can have in the system, and we can evaluate how that particular person has worked. Whether a particular person is going out of its own limits and helping across the teams, whether the person while working as a cross-functional achieves the targets, how his character once dealing with any situation alone and once dealing in the team, or while dealing with the cross-functional team. So all these things can be mapped in the system itself. We can have the parameters of their KRAs, which can be further broken up into two parts. One is the technological know-how, number two is the people, and number three can be the business outcome. So we can calibrate them like this, depending upon the organization.
Right, sir. So I think this is all. We do not have any more questions. So thank you so much for your time. And before we close, I would like to bring the attention of everyone to another initiative of Core HRIR team, which is Chai Buddy series, which is our monthly seminar series from the HR community. So we would be hosting Chai Buddy 5. This is our fifth seminar ever since our inception. It will be held on 15th of July this year. Within the same month. Sorry, and it is a Sunday, so I'm sure everyone will be able to make it. This is an opportunity for people to hear some of the best speakers in the industry on artificial artificial intelligence in HR, on the assessment or the development centers, how we can utilize it for the benefit of people and the organization. Also, how how you can how we can enlighten the leadership and develop the leadership. So we would have three esteemed speakers, and we would have Shining HR Award, which will be a debut of its kind within the core HRIR group. As I said during the start of this webinar, it is for people who have less than 10 years of experience. You have this opportunity to go ahead and showcase whatever you have achieved in your respective organizations or career. And the best two presentations will be the best two concepts and presentations or speakers, presenters will be shortlisted and awarded. So the nominations are still on. Please go ahead and nominate yourself, especially for Delhi NCR. For HR professionals in Delhi NCR, this is a golden opportunity. It is the venue would be Global Institute of Technology Management, which is in Gurgaon, and we'll be arranging bus service from the Huda City Center metro station, both to and fro. So please do not miss this opportunity. Right, and we would certainly like to encourage feedback. Please give us feedback on how we have performed, any other topics, any other burning issues you feel in your organization or troubling your mind or you have experienced in your entire career, and we'll be glad to take them up. And I would really like to thank all the participants, the attendees, the people who have made it happen. Especially, I would like to thank Raju sir. He's taken out time on a Friday from his busy schedule, helped us with the frequently asked questions and the other concerns and other the areas of performance management with the technological aspect. That's really kind of him to be able to spare some time for us. So thank you, sir. He's shared his knowledge, experience, and expert views on the subject. I would also like to thank Veer, Bhanu, Jyoti, Anu, and Kirti, who comprise the core HRIR main team. And our special thanks again on behalf of the team to many more people who've been behind the scene. They've always been encouraging the mentors and the attendees as well, who always supported us during the entire tenure of 1.5 years. And without your support, we wouldn't have moved, or we wouldn't have reached where we have. So thank you all of you, and have a great weekend. Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone. Have a great weekend.